Okay. 7:30, it's June 6th, 2024. This is the Planning Commission meeting. We are in room 133 of the Brookfield Town Hall. Who is here today? Most of us are here. So myself, Scott Dale, the chair, Michael Duval, vice chair is here, Courtney Knopp, the secretary, Linda Taylor, regular member, John Mara, regular member. Mark Lewingart is not here, the alternate, but Aga Stepniak, alternate, is here. So, all right. On item 2 is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, which is May 2nd. Everybody had a chance to review those. Let us know if there's any comments, questions, edits, or otherwise. And if not, somebody can make a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of
Okay.
the last meeting.
All right. We're all present. Let me just
Maybe.
double check that. All of us were, so we can all vote.
Except Courtney, right?
This-
I wasn't
Oh, I'm sorry, Courtney was absent.
I was as
And
well.
Linda was absent, so it's between,
I was here at the last meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Came in maybe a couple minutes.
That's regular?
Well,
No.
No, I don't think.
oh no,
you
I
were.
wasn't. I'm sorry.
No, you
Oh,
were sick.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
See, I
Okay.
pictured
Yeah.
I'll
second.
Thank you.
yeah.
I-
So it's myself, Michael, and John,
I know.
and Aga was there for
I was
that
here.
as well, so you can vote. So,
I'll second.
you'll second?
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion? No? Ayes?
All right?
All ayes, yeah, okay. 4-0 there. Okay. On to the present. We will go on to the new business. Item A is the 160 Wisconsin Road, PL-24-3. Who would like to speak to this?
Stand up here.
Yes, please do. I'd like to know who you are. And,
David Cole, representative for the church.
okay,
Basically, we're trying to take the 3 lots that weren't really delineated correctly and put them into 2 and get the lot lines straightened out. I don't know if you noticed on the maps I gave you that one of the lot lines went right through the old church, or the church is there now. So what we're looking to do is just get it all straightened out so we have a correct map on file. So there was 3 lots, one would be 3 Solar Mine Road, there's 160 Kitchener Road, which is actually the church, and 2 Junction Road, which is the house right next to it. So like I say, basically, we're trying to just have 2 lots now for the church to be 160, which the Solar Mine Road lot would combine into that lot, and the other lot would stay, by itself with the new line delineated down the center. Looking to put an addition on the church, so we're trying to get the lot file, the map filed correctly, so when we do the rest of the work, there's a correct map on file to reference. I know some work has been done out here before with the pump station put in and stuff, but nobody really did the research to go back and find out what the lots really were, and they just went ahead and did what they did, but this will make everything come into, current, standards for the survey and everything will be on file if you guys approve it, and, it should be a lot easier to go forward with anything. Of course, the church is where it is, it's close to the road, but we're not gonna do anything about that, that's for sure.
so these are 3 lots that you're moving in?
3 lots that are gonna turn into 2 lots, so
Into
basically,
2.
you'll have 3 Junction Road will be going away.
Mhm.
You'll have 160 Wisconsin Road, which is the actual church, and 2 Junction Road, all owned by the church, but
Mhm.
now it'll just be correctly surveyed and, need to correctly filed.
Does anybody on the commission have any questions on this?
No, it's pretty straightforward. The
Mhm.
church owns all the property anyway, so it's not like anybody giving up,
Mm-hmm.
moving a lot line.
Any other plans for the properties as a result of this?
We are gonna put an addition on.
The addition.
Afterwards, and after this is approved, then, there's a 75-foot setback, so I will have to go in for a variance for the addition, because they need an elevator, there's no ADA, elevator from the office area down to the, fellowship hall in the back, so it's very hard, because somebody's up in the chapel, they actually have to get in the car, just driven all the way around back when they have the fellowship meetings going on, so,
Okay.
there'll be an addition put on to the side of the building. I've already gone to the historic district and that's been approved and everything, so this is really the next step, just before I go on
Mhm.
and file for it, so.
Mhm. And no other changes to, well, I guess would be number 2 Junction Road.
Well, we're delineating a new lot line. The old lot line from 2 Junction Road actually went through the old church. If you
I
look
mean,
at
in
it.
its use, yeah.
It's used, no
Yeah,
change in
yeah.
use, no change in use with any of the property. It's really a housekeeping thing to get it correctly, filed in the town hall so we can actually go ahead and permit the rest of it that we want to do.
And the entrance and the exits are staying in the same place?
Yeah, nothing's changed.
Okay.
Really, it's just a housekeeping thing.
Comments, questions?
Well, for me, it's very straightforward.
Yeah. John, anything from you?
Pretty cut and dry, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
If no questions, anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to accept the lot revisions.
Is there a second for that?
I can second that.
All right. Any other discussion on this at all? If not?
No?
Ayes? Any
Vote
nays?
aye?
All ayes? Ayes, okay. No nays? No abstains.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
You have to sign the Mylar, I believe, right?
We do, yeah. Yeah, we do have
I
that.
did give you the Mylar.
Yeah, we'll need a, Mylar and a check to cover the cost of recording.
Okay.
Yep.
Can you bring a check down tomorrow?
You'll have to bring a check down when you file it on the
Right,
land
I file it,
records,
right?
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
So we can always hold on to it and you can pick it up in the land use office,
Either
if
way.
that's easier. You have to come to town hall.
Yeah. All right, I'll grab it from you tomorrow.
Okay, remember we close early tomorrow at 1.
Okay.
That is. All right.
Thank you very much.
Close it on Friday.
Close early on
That's-
Fridays.
This is the first Friday they're doing it, right?
No, we've been doing this for over a year. You're very welcome.
Oh, I thought it was just for the summer months.
That's why you're always late on Friday, no? No, we did. We started that, actually, I think the first week I started, so it was a year ago.
I know Danbury's done that for, well, they don't
Danbury,
even
I
work.
think, works on
No, they
Friday.
don't even
I would
work on
rather that personally.
Yeah, we're on to new business B, which is 172 Long Meadow Hill Road, PL-24-4.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Steve Sullivan, professional engineer with CCLLC. I'm joined by the applicant, Rocky Navarro. This is 172 Long Mill Hill Road. I have the notices that we applied to the neighbors.
You can actually give it to Jeannie. I'll take those, thank you.
So this is 172 Long Meadow Hill Road. It's about 2 acres. There's an existing house on the front. It's been built, it's been in there for a while.
20 years.
20 years, yeah. So the applicant's looking to construct a common driveway and to a rear lot in the back. The property is bisected by a wetland.
Yes.
So that's why we have to bring it to the, further in the back. We do have wetlands approval.
Okay.
We have a common driveway coming in on the south side of the property. We're crossing the wetland and a small little brook with a 3-sided box culvert. And then as we get past the wetlands and go up, we have a house site, septic, well, and some roof runoff recharge systems located in this area. This is so that you'll have 2 1-acre, little over 1-acre lots. This is the R40 zone. There's no extra space for open space, so we'll do the payment in lieu of. And this front part's all lawn, and then once you get towards, there's a shed there. Behind the shed, that's where it becomes wooded. So we'll be clearing. We have our construction line for the clearing. this is gonna be hopefully a home that Rocky's gonna build for himself.
Oh, okay.
So, you grew up in this front house, right?
Yeah, so I grew up in that house
Okay.
and I still live there. And my
Okay.
goal is basically to build a single-family home on that second acre.
Mhm.
My mom's maiden name is Rachela, and we have all of our relatives live adjacent to each other, so I grew up
Okay.
connecting all of our houses, so I'm trying to continue that tradition and build this plot of land by subdividing the family land.
Okay.
So
That's-
that's pretty straightforward.
That's it? Okay.
And your
Um,
family's gonna live in your parents or your mom's gonna live in the
Yeah,
front
so
house?
my mom's gonna continue to live there, my brother is gonna take over that house.
Good.
So, we'll probably determine if we want to go with a public hearing for this because there's neighbors involved and just give them the opportunity to speak if they wish to. So, we can set that. We have to make a motion to set a public hearing, right?
Make a motion to set the public hearing, and it does have to have a public hearing because it is a re-subdivision, there was a first cut. I did some
So-
research on that,
So it would be a subdivision.
it would be a re-subdivision.
We'll talk about that offline.
Okay.
But that's fine, you could.
Okay, yeah. I'd like to make a motion, will somebody else make the motion to set the public hearing for this for, our next meeting is July 18th, we don't meet on July 4th, so. okay.
I'll make a motion to, establish a public meeting related to this case on the 18th of July.
Sorry?
Want to select the time, usually when we do it at like quarter
Yeah.
of, so we could look at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, so
Okay.
7:45,
Yeah.
yeah, 7:45, okay, all right. Is there a second for that motion?
Oh, yeah. Linda?
Share the wealth, yeah, okay. Linda, second it, okay, ayes?
Aye?
Aye.
5-0,
Do you
okay.
need to go out to the site at all and look at anything, or?
Does anybody feel, we wanna do a site walk to it?
Is it near Rachel Farm?
It is, it's 3 houses down on the left-hand side.
If Ironworks.
It must back up to
Anyways.
where our farm is. Yeah. On Applebee's property.
Okay, so Richards Road runs
Right.
behind it.
Yeah.
And I believe the last house on the right-hand side, you can see their backyard.
Right.
They have 3 acres now.
Yeah.
Do others feel the same, that they wanna do a site walk of this?
I know where.
I think I'm familiar with the neighborhood
Yeah,
myself.
I know it, I know it.
Um,
And it's,
Are you okay with that, if we don't schedule a site walk, or do you want one, Linda?
Oh, I'm fine.
Oh, you're fine? Okay, all right, we can skip
I mean,
that.
I live up there.
All right, very good.
Come over and bring everybody for lunch, but,
Okay, so we're all set for the public hearing on the 18th, okay?
Okay,
We're good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right. Oh, okay. Old business, okay, the plan of conservation development, I've heard about that. So, we did have a meeting just 2 days ago, so, actually, I'll let Courtney go ahead, I'll let you, well, I can discuss what we talked
Yeah, why
about
not,
on
yeah.
Tuesday. Mark took the notes, I don't have the notes with me, but one thing we did cover is the survey that we want to go put out. Aga put together some work on that. We, originally what Aga provided was a more extensive, comprehensive survey that, which we may use at a later date, when we ask for more detail. But the idea of this first survey is more or less a quick, give us a pulse of the town and what's on people's minds. So, I think that is, I didn't get a chance to read some of the narrative, but I think we're in a pretty good place with that, and thank you, Aga, for the work that you did for that. So I think we just need to work out how we get this out and get it out to the folks so they can start, give us some feedback and let us know what's on their mind, right? Did I cover everything, Aga? You were,
Yeah,
And then Courtney had some questions.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
but they're, just discussion points, but they're not trying to necessarily change anything.
Yeah.
I was just taking a look at this in Google Docs. I was wondering if maybe the first question should go after the three, like, substantive ones, because it's kind of like more of a demographic, rather than lead with how long have you been here.
Yeah.
Start with, like, what do you love about it, what are the opportunities, what are the priorities, and then you ask, like, then how long have you been here?
I think
Yeah.
originally we had 5 as number 1, but yeah.
Okay,
we could do
yeah,
that
I mean,
either way.
usually, sometimes, like, the advice is sometimes to put the demographic stuff at the end, in terms of, like, anyway, what I hear about survey design, but it might just, that way, if we they don't stay and answer all 5, but we get the like, really substantive stuff. So that was a question. Then the other thing I was wondering was if there should be a question there that's like, what's your connection to Brookfield? Do you live here? Are you, like, do you work in the neighborhood? Or do you work in the community? Do you own a business?
We were-
Didn't
yeah.
know if that was like,
We
for
were
the
trying to
other survey, keep it
really
short. Yeah.
short. The idea is, the shorter it is, hopefully you get
Hey,
responses
totally,
at this
yeah.
point. And we're just trying to get some quick,
Yeah.
give us what you got, we'll throw it against the wall and see if it sticks, kind of thing.
Totally, yeah.
And questions 2, 3, and 4, I think we're gonna ask, like, for the top 3 answers, and purposely leaving that blank, so we're not leading them into a certain answer. We wanna hear what's on, fresh on their minds,
Yeah. That makes sense.
And that's just, it's a place to start, anyway,
What's this one?
That makes sense. Yeah, I didn't know if, like, even with this wide, pass, that we would get people, other folks who weren't just residents here. So that was just my question, like.
Well, that's why we asked for the street
yeah.
address. Yeah,
And
that's-
what
Oh,
year
okay,
did you
gotcha.
become a resident?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah, no worries. Yeah, I was just wondering. And so then my other question, which I think you just answered, was for number 4, did we think that it should be more of like a Likert scale versus totally open-ended? Because we have all these categories that we're, like, kind of saying in the RFP will be the priority, and, like, so based on that table of contents, with an area for others, so if people had other things that didn't come up. But it was a question. I think if we want to keep it open-ended, that's fine. I just don't know if people will be, like, jogging,
Yeah,
they're
that'll be the
imagining
challenge, is when you get the
yeah.
responses, how do you categorize those, right?
Yeah.
And into something that's useful. But I don't know, that
Keeping
was
it
my thought, is to
open-ended,
keep it
yeah.
very open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Yeah, so those notes that I put in the Google Doc were just, like, using the suggestion thing, so I'll just delete them and.
Well, no,
it'll-
I'll take a look at them in detail.
Okay, I mean, either way, yeah. But whenever it's ready to go, feel free to just, accept or deny those changes. I didn't edit anything actually here. But I think this looks really great, and yeah, it's like we're gonna get their email hopefully, so then later down the road, when we can invite them to participate in this more, substantial.
Yep.
Okay. And I think these open-ended questions will hopefully give us some good ideas for the, like, vision and the values and as well as the priorities, so.
Yep.
I think that'll
How will
be
they send this out?
I think that's what we were trying to figure out
I
right
think
now.
that's where we are
Yeah.
with this right now.
Yeah, I mean, we
Yeah.
could, I think, Ago, you were looking into SurveyMonkey, right? But we could also maybe use
Yeah.
Google Forms, which is like a free survey tool, so we'll figure that out. And then in terms of distribution, what's the idea? I mean, we can put it on the town website,
Put it on the
right?
website.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know how, and I haven't looked into this, has anyone played with QR codes at all? as far
I've
as
used
pulling
them
up?
for other stuff,
I'm
like,
wondering if we could put it on a QR code
I-
and have it in different places too, maybe
Yeah.
Town Hall, Parks and Rec.
I think that's a good idea.
Maybe do the library, work with them.
put like a poster or something, or just the, yeah.
Just
You
the
don't really
QR
need it.
code,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I
why I
think
said start at
it's
15.
commonplace now, that I think everyone would be pretty used to it, then you can take the survey wherever you are.
Yeah,
In case
exactly.
somebody runs into it.
Yeah,
and
that's
it-
good thought.
Particularly since it's so short.
Yeah.
Any other locations that you can think of, just so I can make sure that it's okay? I'm sure the library would be fine with it. We
Yeah.
could just set up a little, pub,
Little
we might
pop-up
get the
thing.
farmer's market to do one.
That'd be
at their
cool.
booths.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywhere where folks
Are there any big games
gather.
coming up, like where there are gonna be families gathered around
We
sports,
can maybe
or,
put one at like Cadigan.
yeah,
Tomorrow-
like
Town Beach.
Town Hall.
Tomorrow at the,
Town
concert.
Beach.
yeah.
I mean, we just have to get the okay from Laura Murphy, Parks and Rec director, but I don't see it being a problem. Just a little laminated
Yeah.
sort of thing to get people's attention. I don't know if any, but I haven't created one yet, so.
I've done it before, yeah, it's
Okay,
very
I'm
easy,
gonna
like, once
be-
we have the link for the
should
URL
be
for the
easy.
survey, then you just use a generator and it
Okay.
spits it out for you.
Perfect.
Yeah, uh-huh.
I've heard it was easy, but I
Yep.
haven't tried it yet.
I think that's a good idea, yeah, for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
And then we can also put it on the website, of course.
Mhm.
And I would recommend also maybe doing it in Spotlight.
It's a,
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah, yeah.
thing.
What Spotlight?
It's a paper that,
Oh,
an email that comes out that the town puts out
oh,
Just
from
town
the
news and-
Oh,
town
gotcha.
hall
Yeah.
with everything that's going on in Brookfield for that month.
Mhm.
I think about
Right.
once a month, isn't it?
It's only once a month,
Yep.
yes,
Okay.
so we would have to, depends on when do we want the survey out
Work on the
by.
timing, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause it just came out.
I mean, that's a good question. Do we have a sense, for, like, how quickly we might be able to make this live?
Try
Yeah.
to get that done.
Okay, cool. So whenever you have the link, just if you send it to me, I'll get the
Yeah.
QR. Okay, cool.
Pop it out, leave it out there for a month, or whatever
even,
time we
yeah, a couple
decide, and
months,
then, then we'll have to look at the results and see what we learn from it.
Mhm.
So.
I don't know how SurveyMonkey does their result calculations. I hear Google, Google Forms does a good job of kind of categorizing them.
Yeah, it's got like a pretty good summary feature, and then you can also just download it as like a CSV file if you
Okay.
wanna like put it in
Okay.
Excel and crunch the numbers yourselves, the actual like individual responses, so.
We've used SurveyMonkey with Pop Warner.
Okay, does it work well?
It actually, you get decent feedback.
Okay.
I know it's pretty easy to navigate also, so, but like on a tight knit, like Pop Warner, you can tell who's who in the survey by their comments, but, you
You
know,
never know in town, you might too. It could be an
But
interesting
it's
experience.
actually a pretty decent, and
That's good.
I don't believe there's a charge to it. Or if there is, it's not anything
Huge,
huge,
okay.
so, but once again, we were looking at 150 families in comparison to,
The town.
Right.
There's many people in the town who could possibly do it, right?
Right.
We could also
So-
send it to all the land use commissions. I can always send them the QR code too.
Mm-hmm.
Spread the word,
More the
right?
merrier, yeah.
That's what we did with the Parks and Rec one, so.
All right,
Okay.
we're good there? All right. Other thing we touched on, but we can talk on a little bit more, we do have RFP language. Thank you for your
Sure.
work on this. And I've got, template and language from our purchasing group, so I have that, so merge all that together, and I think we're pretty close to
Pretty close,
getting this
yeah.
out, so.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, as of a couple weeks ago, Scott and I had talked before I went on vacation, and the timeline we were thinking then would be that we would try to get this thing live like by the end of this week, which maybe we can talk tonight about whether that's
Sure.
still realistic or not. If that were the case, then to give it at least 30 days and to also account for the July 4th, we were thinking that the bids would be due the 8th of July. I want to we can, again, revisit this. If we need to push it, if we need to kick it down the field at all for any reason, like there are some things that we need to get answers to, just related to this template, I think, then maybe we want to, I don't want to push it back too far, but I think we should give them at least 30 days to
Yeah,
respond.
30 days.
So that's just the question mark. But right now, this is kind of like where we're operating. So first couple of pages are just stock language from the town. So this will go through the purchasing manager. We need to decide if we're going to have a pre-bid meeting. So that's something that we should decide today.
Yeah,
Because it
well,
needs to be
I think from my
noticed.
discussion with
Yeah.
the purchasing is that that's something that we could decide to do when we start to get the bids and decide if there's like two or three that we want to then have a meeting on and review.
Oh, is that the pre-bid meeting, or is that like, I was reading it as an info, like an
Oh, this is
info
pre-bid.
session?
Yeah.
The pre-bid meeting,
Yeah.
like when I've participated in them, when like the town will kind of do like a webinar and people who are thinking about applying come and ask questions.
That was not covered in our discussion.
It says that it's optional. I don't know if you feel like there's
I don't know if there really is a need, because
there any value
believe
to
it or
it?
not, I know they don't come up very often for you, but POCDs are very standard
Yeah.
as far as what they need to be experts in.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I personally would say no.
Yeah, that was kind of
Actually,
the way I was leaning, but I
Yeah,
wanted to bring it
agree with
up.
that, yeah.
I am
Yeah.
totally lost.
Okay,
sorry.
So we're looking to
Right
hire,
over my head.
sorry, let me back up. We're looking
it
to
every time.
hire a planning consultant to like, to do the update of the POCD. The last couple of meetings, that's kind of where we landed, because we have some money for it in the budget and select, and feel it's important and others. So anyway, that's kind of where we landed. So we're developing language to like hire somebody. Okay, sorry about that.
What? Miss a meeting, you don't.
Yeah, no.
We assumed you knew, yeah.
Yeah, no, a lot can change
Never
in a month. So I'm gonna cross that out and I'll kind of like update that there. Okay, so then what we worked on were the next few pages. This was what Scott and I kind of wrote. So starts with an intro to Brookfield, just a little tiny bit of context, like where we are located, what's the population, how has that changed? It's grown by over 1,000 people since 2010. A little bit of like context about planning and development in the town and what's happened since the last plan update. And then the fourth paragraph, I mean, I would love to know, I don't know if we have time, do we have time for people to kind of like look at this now quickly? Because like, Linda might be seeing it for the first time. I guess like paragraph 4 is, I wanted to make sure that seemed like the framing made sense to you guys. So like, despite the development and growth, a significant portion of the town remains dedicated to open space and conservation. Longtime new residents have expressed desires to strike a balance between retaining the town's town sense of place and accommodating the need for more housing, strategic density, and increased demand on infrastructure and services.
Yeah, balance.
Yeah,
is-
so
is
like,
the
that's
key.
kind of, what I wanted to emphasize, not come down on one side or the other, but, and then I give a little overview. This is what the current plan says. These are the 3 priorities. I reference a bunch of plans that we tell them they should take a look at if they're gonna apply, like the Affordable Housing Plan, POCD, Four Corners, et cetera. And then we get into the kind of, I guess, the actual pieces of what they will submit to us and propose. So asking for an update of the plan on page, sorry, I should have page numbers here. On page 4, it's got the list of issues that's kind of like based on the current POCD chapters, but with a couple of additions based on conversations we've had. Adding sustainability and climate adaptation.
But of course, all of this is to be determined, right?
Yes, exactly, yeah, but it's like, these are the areas that
Mhm.
we think we'll probably be
Right.
focusing on. One thing that was interesting, Greg wrote back, in his comments back about the update of the plan, he said that, and he didn't tell us why, but he said legally we can't talk about community character as something now, so that's just from a language, from a framing point of view. So I changed that into identity and sense of place. I was trying to like come up with another way of talking about that, but I don't know if that's exactly it. But that was just something to, I guess, to make a note of. I thought that was interesting. I don't know. You're looking like, do you have
Yes,
context? Yeah.
Community character
Yeah.
has become one of those, like hot topics in
Yeah.
the zoning field particularly,
Mhm.
because people you can have exclusionary zoning
Yes, yeah,
practices
exactly.
based off of it doesn't fit with the
Right.
neighborhood, and it's been used,
In a negative sense.
In exclusive
sense.
Yeah.
ways.
So they
Yeah.
have cracked down and removed it from part of the legislation, and I think it was part of the Public Act last year to remove that as a, like, criteria that it has to be community character.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
So that I
You were on
just,
the
yeah, I
right
figured
track.
that was probably why, to be honest, but I wasn't positive. But anyway, I mean, if we still want to have something that gets at the like sense of place of the community,
sense of place.
yeah,
I think
sense of
that's
place, yeah.
Well, then,
So there was
then we
that.
have to go back to this first bullet up here, enhance the community care.
Well, that's just pulling the language directly
Yeah.
from, I
From the
mean, I guess
front,
we could
yeah.
wordsmith it there, but, okay, so these are kind of the areas we think they'll focus on. We're asking them to, we're saying that this is another thing we decided, Linda, in the last couple of months, that since we're hiring these consultants, but we do have in-house capacity, we're gonna do a lot of the like existing conditions analysis in-house to hopefully free up the space in their like budget and proposal to focus more on implementation planning. Like, they're gonna come up with a vision, like updated vision and everything, but rather than it just stop with like, these are the priorities, we want them to actually think about like how are they gonna get from A to
The
B.
strategies associated with the implementation as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
what was that? Say that?
Strategies
Yeah,
associated
yeah,
with the
exactly. So I say like we'll do a bunch of the existing conditions. We want to use that as a basis for our collaboration with them. Then they're going to propose a community engagement program. They're gonna update the vision, goals, action items, and then they're gonna develop an implementation strategy, which will identify the who, what, where, and why, and how for each action item, as well as a blueprint for thinking about how to like roll this out over the next 10 years, which there's some implementation thinking certainly in the existing plan, like project leads and that kind of thing, but I think just to the extent that that can really be thought through and mapped out, then.
So it's kind of taking what we see in some of the existing POCDs, even our own,
Yeah.
where it's just sort of like a spreadsheet, like, here's what we want to do, here's who's assigned, you
Yeah.
know, let's see if it works out.
But maybe even taking
Yeah.
that to like the next
Taking
level.
the-
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like going beyond that, like what are the like what are some of the
How do you
pots of
get
money,
there?
what are
Yeah.
some of the resources, who really needs to be involved, and part of that I think is like just reflecting on some of the feedback and responses we've gotten from different commissions as they've been providing updates to the existing plan and wanting to think about how can we really like ensure moving forward that we've got all hands kind of on deck and invested in it, and I feel like that implementation planning piece of it could help us with that.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
if
of
you
course.
don't mind?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Just under these
Yes.
bullet points of community identity and status,
Yep.
did you want to include anything? I know you have land use and zoning.
Yeah.
Did you want to include anything about affordable housing?
Oh, did I put housing, but I should put affordable housing.
Just because
Yeah.
I don't know if we were going to take the suggestion that Westcog did to incorporate your affordable housing plan into the POCD or not.
I think that's a question, we've talked about it a
Yeah.
little bit, yeah, I mean, I think that it's open to it, but wasn't our plan just updated in 2023 or 2022?
We have a little more time on the affordable housing, right?
Affordable housing is for 5 years.
5 years.
Right, but it's
Okay, well,
been-
so 2025 is our
the
2
due
years
date for
into
that
it.
is after the POCD, right?
It would be
27, right? 28, 27?
2027 if it's 5,
27.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's up to you. I just wanted to throw it
Yeah.
out there for
Uh,
a thought.
Yeah, I don't know, we can keep it in mind, but at the same time, do we want to, maybe just focus on this, or, you know, and get this accomplished, which is gonna be a challenge in itself, right? Or do we wanna tackle on the addition?
Well, I mean, we're already asking for a housing analysis, so I mean, I wonder if it needs to be a little bit more specific about like a housing needs assessment, and I don't know, with an eye toward
I mean,
mixed
housing.
income communities or something like, I don't
Yeah.
know, yeah, something like that.
I think housing
um,
in general is obviously a topic to be
Right.
considered with it, right? But we could then use that once this POCD is done, to then 2 years later, whatever that time frame is, use that as a basis then to do the affordable housing. Not only that, it buys us time. What can happen in Brookfield during that time, right?
And
Which
we're
may
gonna get
help
a lot
us,
of
or-
data from the
Yeah.
community input and the gathering that's being done for the POCD.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
wanted to make sure that.
Yeah,
it was
I remember,
considered
yeah,
at the
that
very
came
It,
up
it's a
Yeah.
good, I think it's a great thought. I'm thinking of a two-step approach, I guess, is the way to
We don't
look
wanna
at it.
tackle it all.
Yeah.
I mean, if we ended up with proposals from firms that had really strong affordable housing,
Yeah.
like expertise, then
It-
maybe that's something
Maybe-
that's like gravy for them.
And maybe as you're going along with
Yeah.
this, maybe it does, come,
Come to fruition,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it really does fold into it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just a thought, just
maybe-
because it came
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Maybe for now, we could say like housing, comma, including affordable housing. So, I don't know, and then when we talk to them and interview, then we could kind of say like, look, we're really thinking about trying to align these two things together, and could this be an opportunity for you to like help us think about our housing strategy, which we'll lift and put in this other,
Mhm.
this other thing later. Oh, sorry, the other thing that was added, that was not there last time was public safety, and that's huge, and also, I guess, just based on anecdotally conversations I've been hearing about what priorities are gonna be for certain electeds, and so I added that, and the other reason I added it, this was interesting, sorry, I hope I'm not taking too much time, but I had a conversation with the Candlewood Lake Authority folks, to talk about their update. And it was interesting because they had been like tasked with being a lead on all these conservation related issues. But when I was talking to them, they're like, we do two things. We have the like wildlife management, conservation, but we're also law enforcement, boating, police, like public safety, all this, and we're, and that's not like really encompassed in the existing plan at all. So they were like, and as you guys update, we would love to talk to you about all of that work we're doing, because with all the new people in the area and on the lake, it's, they're running into all kinds of issues. So I wanted to pull that out a little bit, again, as a potential category.
And the lake is an area that was not
That-
part
not
of the
really part of
existing
the existing
POCD,
plan.
aside
Yeah.
from zebra mussels.
Right.
That should be, probably a part, in some way.
They also told me that they introduced all these carp into the lake to eat the weeds, and they said that it was too successful. They've basically eaten everything out of the lake. And so now they're trying to remediate that somehow, but I've seen them swimming around,
They've been trying to catch them and take them out.
Yeah,
because
they're trying to take them out now.
They were there to
Yeah.
eat the water milfoil, but what
Yeah.
they did was they ate all the other
Everything.
food sources
Yeah.
for the bass and everything else, and cut out all the other
Yeah.
fish.
Yeah.
So that made, I don't know, I don't
Yeah.
fish, but bass are probably a lot smaller now than they used to be.
It's really interesting.
I don't fish either. I'm a hunter.
I eat fish.
Um,
That was
Okay.
a mistake.
yeah.
Can I say one thing
exactly.
about the survey?
Of course, yeah, please.
The questions for the survey here?
Well, that's a long term,
Proposed,
that's
yeah.
not gonna happen now, but down the
Oh,
road.
okay, well, I'm saying,
Yeah.
you probably have to cut this down to like one page with 10 questions, because people are gonna get lost, and after 100 questions or so, they're gonna be like, forget it.
Yeah, that's why we're going with this one, the quick hitter, the shorter version.
Okay,
This one
that's
here, that's the one that's gonna
Yeah,
go
something
out now.
simple, it's gotta be
It just-
something simple that you
yeah,
put on
quick-
like a
quick into the-
one-page
yeah.
card. So I
And
know
the-
when I get surveys and it goes into all kinds of.
Yeah. Eyes glaze over,
Exactly.
yeah. Totally. Sorry, I'll try to wrap this up quickly. So basically we're asking them for like a series of interim and final deliverables. You can see that there. So these like engagement, outreach plan, et cetera, et cetera. But what they're gonna produce for us is the plan itself, and then hopefully give us over also all of their like notes and everything from the community outreach, so that we could have that, for ourselves as data. So asking them to submit a proposal by, right now, the 8th of July. We'll have a cover letter, their strategy, their approach to updating the POCD, their approach to implementation planning. And then, let me skip over the narrative budget for a minute. I'll go, our narrative response, I'll go over that in a minute. But a budget, a timeline. I mentioned in a few places we're working toward November 2025. And then just some like housekeeping, their names, resumes, et cetera. That's really standard for this kind of like RFP. And then this was an idea, I've done this when I've responded to RFP. Sometimes they have like extra questions to try to get at specific things, like say we want to make sure we get someone who really does know how to do community outreach and engagement. Or knows what it means to like align this with the regional and the state plan, or what it takes to actually engage in implementation planning. So there are a few questions that are basically to that end, and we just ask them to like talk about their experiences with these things and include links to other projects. So I feel like that will probably reveal a lot, and I'm imagining optimistically we're gonna get all these amazing proposals, and we'll have lots of cool things to choose from. We'll see. And then I just put some criteria for evaluations so they know what we're thinking about, right? That they have the experience with outreach, with consensus building, implementation planning, doing that alignment with regional and state plans, that they have a feasible timeline and a feasible budget. And I was kind of saying like that's how we would be looking at and evaluating their proposals. And that's kind of it. I mean, then I just say like you're gonna need to figure out, like propose how you would be in communication with us as the managing, commission throughout this process. And I added my information in case people had questions, but I guess that's a question for purchasing, like is it, because they also have them on the front. as a point of contact. And then everything after that is just stock from
Yeah, that's from
purchasing.
purchasing.
Yeah, so that's kind of where we are. If we can get this thing like finalized, I think the main thing we need, in my mind, is we need a bid number. It looks like we need to have that listed. And so maybe we need to follow up with purchasing and
Yeah,
get,
I can
get
follow
that.
up
Is that,
with
how does that work? Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Can
Yeah.
I bring up just something about
Yes,
logistics
definitely.
and project timeline?
Yes, yes, yes.
I know you're saying you expect the consultant to communicate regularly with the planning commission,
Yeah.
P O C D update subcommittee. Who is picking the consultant? Who
Oh.
is seated for now, did you want anyone from land use staff as well?
Like on the search committee,
input?
kind of,
Yeah.
or,
For when you
Yeah.
actually do your interviews and stuff?
Yeah.
Because there's
Yeah.
nothing that includes like land use on this,
yes,
so
yeah, yeah.
I just wanted to.
Yes,
make
yeah, no,
It means
please,
it's
yeah,
good.
yep, okay.
Vetting this
Yeah.
way,
Don't want to give you extra work, but yes, definitely, I think that would be very helpful. So-
We're very looking forward to doing this and working
Okay,
with someone, so.
Also with Greg Dombrowski.
I also was
Dombrowski,
talking with him
Yep.
about, I was thinking that
Is there-
both of us could.
Is any of the other the previous POCD, are any of those consultants still around? Maybe we could get somebody that worked on it last time, they'd have a head start.
it was done in-house last.
Yeah, we did it in the
I
house.
was gonna say, it was in-house last time, and the time before it, it was, Planometrics,
Oh, okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
I would not, it wouldn't be unsurprising to see if he bid, it would
Yeah.
be very interesting to see if he bid again.
You know, like if somebody that worked on the previous POCD would have, you know, already pre-knowledge of what's going on in the town and what
Yeah.
happened.
You
Like
should
what
bid.
then?
It's a nice chunk of change, yeah.
Right, yeah.
So just quickly on that, so I'll add land use director, economic development specialist, and then, so you're,
Yeah,
In the
do you want
communication-
anyone else on that?
who else would you
I
suggest?
definitely
Yeah.
was gonna just suggest Greg,
Yeah.
because he's a
Oh,
wealth
yeah.
of information on
He
this, I
is.
was hoping you'd
Yes.
not be opposed to having me on it, do you want anything, one from?
Like Parks and Rec maybe, or,
Well,
I don't know if
here's,
you
What
wanna
about
go that
public safety?
far.
Maybe not.
I
Like-
was wondering if you wanted anyone,
see, I'm looking at it this way,
okay.
and I think you probably know what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
I think it should come down to the planning and the people, and planning, but we want the input, obviously, yeah. We want the input from yourself and from others in land use, absolutely. We value that input, you
Thank
know.
you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
so Scott, are you,
Well, nervous
you
when I
saying
saw
it's
this.
you're okay with the idea that they participate in the conversation
Oh,
and the
yes, yes,
interviewing?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
good,
yes.
uh-huh.
Excellent.
Okay,
Yes.
thank
So-
you. So maybe what I'll add also as a sentence is just says like, we'll shortlist like the consultants and then
Mhm.
set up like a round of interviews that will involve like the commissioners and the land use
Yeah,
director
and that's what I understand from purchasing, is that's
what
that's
we-
often the
yeah,
process.
That is often the process.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we sat on it for like the town council.
Yeah.
meetings,
Okay.
Things like that.
And as we're reviewing them, there could be, from certain perspectives, why maybe a certain bid is not up to speed for whatever particular reason. It doesn't meet certain requirements that we need, or some of the things we've set in the bid. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for that, that's really helpful. Anything else
Thank you
from
for that.
folks? Do you have a sense, so you met with, just really quickly, you met with purchasing, did you have a sense for like how quickly we could act once we have this ready to go? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I got a sense that it can go
It could
pretty
just go up,
quickly from
okay.
that point, yeah.
Great, so we can put it up on the town website, right? I was seeing on the state POCD website,
Yep.
there's also a place for RFPs.
I think they have certain
Are you on
avenues.
listserv for the state?
I must not be, yeah.
Okay, so I would definitely suggest that we would put it on the state list,
Yep.
but it goes to the whole planning
Yep.
community.
You're talking about, this is through the state government, not like, not Connecticut APA, or,
Well, we could put it on APA
Yeah,
too,
uh-huh.
Their website.
Yep.
I don't know, I'll have to get you the link anyway, so you can, if you're interested in Connecticut planning.
I do, yeah, I would
Or are
like
you
to.
on New York's listserv?
I think good question.
You're
I
on
think,
something.
I'm definitely on New York's, yeah,
would
so I think,
definitely
yeah.
suggest putting it on that, because it goes out to just about every town.
So that's the Connecticut American Planning Association, like, chapter for folks at APA. But then you're saying there's another state of Connecticut listserv
There's
that's,
another
okay,
state
so
that
that's
for
another one.
planning That we would definitely,
Yep.
I would suggest putting it on, and then of
Okay.
course the town website.
Yep, and then, There's also like Planetizen, they have an RFP list, but I don't know how much it costs to advertise. Expensive. I mean, they charge like $600 for a job posting, so I don't know. Yeah, but that was a while ago too. It's probably like $1,000 now.
I was gonna say, but
Yeah.
I see the RFPs being listed for other towns' POCDs on it and other affordable housing plans and
Yeah.
things of that nature, so.
Let me look into it, and maybe if it's not
I think I
too
see the link
crazy.
for it too, so-
Yeah, I have it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for sure. I'll look at that and the National APA
Mhm.
website because they have an RFP area as well. And if we, if it's not too expensive or if it's free, then we can probably try to blast it around as much as we can. Okay, cool. So that'll be my homework for this weekend because we're gonna get this ready
Yeah, we'll get this
tomorrow.
straight,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, we can
Um,
talk, yeah.
Okay. I think I took enough time.
I
but
think the
yeah.
only other, I hope this is valuable for you guys. The only other thing related to the POCD, we're just gonna
Some of the
discuss,
updates.
who,
Yeah.
you sent out requests to the various boards and
Yeah.
commissions. It was to check in to see how did we do with the old POCD,
Right.
to learn from the past and maybe the present, before we move forward.
Okay.
And I think you said that you've gotten responses
Almost
from
everyone. I thought it
most
was
of them.
everyone, but I was just double checking. And
Okay.
a couple of emails that were actually asking for a little bit more time, like from the economic development. So I'll circle back around to them. But we have heard from most everyone, either in email form or like I had a couple of meetings, like the one I just described with the Kendallwood
Mhm.
Lake folks. We got most recently, one of the ones we had been waiting for that was really substantial was the Conservation Commission.
Yep.
And, which is here in the agenda, and I can, I think I put this in the shared drive, if not, I'll add it. They basically went through really systematically and gave us extensive updates on everything. So in a nutshell, like, rather than focusing on a lot of like new trail development, they've been focused on the conservation, maintenance, of existing trails. They have established relationships with like a couple of different land trusts and conservation organizations. They have been doing some work with Connecticut Agricultural Extension, which I thought was kind of cool, which is like the state, cooperative extension office, and some work in invasive plant species. So I'll share that with you because rather than go over every single detail, they gave us one of the more detailed responses. We also heard back, trying to think of who is standing out. It's been a while. Health department commenting back on some of the like water quality stuff, and so on and so forth. So I need to update that.
So we've heard from
spreadsheet.
just about
Almost
just about
everyone,
all. Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Okay.
Is there any follow-up or anything?
I think I need to follow up with Economic Development Commission, and
Okay.
I need to circle back around. I thought I had a note from the Zoning Commission, but I wasn't able to find it just now when I was looking.
Okay.
So if that's still missing, that'll be a big one. But I feel like I heard from them, so I just might
Alright.
not be finding it right now in my
It's
email.
on their agenda.
It's still on their
I
agenda?
think it's still on their
Okay.
agenda.
Okay, so maybe I
It was on
didn't-
Thursday. I know it's been brought up now.
Yeah, I think
The
they-
chair was trying to like finalize any kind of
Yeah.
feedback,
Okay.
so
Okay.
hopefully we'll have.
It's not the most urgent thing, like as we get it, we
Yeah.
can update, as long as we've got it in place by the time we have these consultants on board, so that we can just share that with them, I think that'll be good, but, okay.
All right,
Thank you.
are we all good for the POCD for now?
Yeah.
Okay, hope that was good for you guys.
There's a lot, sorry, y'all.
All right, we can move on, I think, to next. We don't have any other business proper. We do have a review of minutes from other commissions. Did everybody get a chance to review those? And were there any comments, questions, as they relate mostly to planning? I think is what we're looking for, if there's anything. I know we used to study these in the past. I'm trying to push
I
through.
just had one, it was kind of a question. It was the Neighborhood Assistance Act that they were applying for.
Is this, which document
It's on
is
the
this?
Board
The
of
Selectmen?
Selectmen.
Okay,
It's the new items that were coming up. They were
sure.
asking, trying to secure a grant for the Y to get updated,
Mhm.
lighting for the outside aquatic center.
Hmm.
And the other one was for also asking for grant money for open space. So I had called up, who was it I called up? but there is no certain place. I just asked, what open space are they talking about? Is it in Brookfield? They said, no, it's in all of Fairfield, you know, all the towns of Westcott.
Okay.
So why would Brookfield be, you know, having to, you know, vote on that, the selectmen? I was a little confused. I thought it was that Brookfield was buying some open land, but it's Westcog in general, so it's no specific plot of land. They're just trying to get the money. And I was like, huh, but what's the address of the land you're trying to buy? Well, it's Reading, New Fairfield, Greenwich. I said, well, why is Brookfield voting on it? You know what I mean?
Because we participate maybe in Westcott
Right.
would be my best guess, that we are one of the participating towns in the
So-
Western Connecticut Council of Government, so for in order to Westcott to do something in which, as like an area, they might be getting consensus for all the towns who participate in it.
Right.
But I don't know anything about that particular place, so I don't
Yeah,
wanna
it was
speak
just-
too much
I
to
was
it.
just-
That's my best guess.
I was just curious where it was, and they had no answers. There isn't any open space that they picked yet. They just were trying to get the grant first. I was like, is that kind of, you know, cart before the horse or something? You know, I was just a little confused on how that process was going.
I'd have to look into that a little.
It was nothing, it was just a simple thing. I was there about that, and I was like, oh, that's kind of, you know, they wanted a grant for the open space, purchase open space, but they didn't have any address of any open space they were thinking about, but they were trying to get the grant. So I just thought that was a little confusing.
Can't speak to
I
it,
guess
sorry.
it's me. Maybe it's just me. That's all.
One that caught my eye in the EDC is mentioned in their other, we have 3 or 4 areas of congestion that show up on heat maps. I've actually looked at those maps for crashes and things like that. Yeah, there's stuff like that, and there's money available for to remediate the congestion. So that'd be studied for. I'd be interested. Now I know that transportation. I know Mark's not here, but he's very interested in anything transportation related, as am I. So I'll be interested in hearing about that. Maybe it's something we also consider for the POCD.
On that note,
Yeah.
if I may really quickly, I forgot to mention this, but one last thing related to the POCD is I've created another folder in that shared drive that's dumping data for the existing conditions updates. So that's like, you know, demographics and employment economic data, but also some transportation crash
Yep,
data.
yep,
So
yeah,
there's like a
I've looked at
mapping
that.
interface. There's also just so as we start to move forward and as if people are interested in building out that piece of it, you
Yep.
know, like I'm starting to dump stuff in there now, so feel free to play with it.
I did a bit of
Yeah.
research on
Yeah.
that area when I was looking at the stuff for the exit 7 to 84 thing, DLT. So.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions on anything related to these minutes from these other boards? Anybody want to bring up?
I'm just looking at the discussion about the cannabis regulations
just
and
saw that
and
too.
couldn't feel like I wasn't like people were talking about how they were leaning, but they didn't actually take a vote on it.
We did vote on it.
They did vote on it.
It is
Oh,
not-
Yeah,
it is-
they did vote
It
on
is
it.
not allowed in town.
it's not allowed in town. Okay, that's.
Then I
I've
have a
expected
question.
that. Yeah.
Mix and mug.
Yeah.
Why is there a place selling weed in town then?
Where's that?
It's in the plaza right next to the Mug and Munch, the
And
Mexican
Mexicana.
restaurant.
Mexicana, yeah.
Yeah,
Is
It's
it
a
on
smoke
their
shop.
menu? Oh.
it's a smoke shop, and if you ask them for it, they will sell it to you.
Well, we just had an officer
gonna
here
say,
earlier.
I know,
I'm
And
sure
now
they
that this
see
is
it too,
public
going
and
by.
live streamed, I'm sure that maybe they'll catch it.
Oh, there you go.
Now, me personally, I haven't gone in there to try to purchase weed because I don't smoke weed, but I know enough people in the area that do, and they may or may not have allegedly bought some from there. So that's what I was looking for in these minutes to see. I had seen that Tara Carr had an email about the cannabis thing, and I was trying to see what that email was. Because I've been going for about a month, so I haven't really been up to date, so I wasn't sure if something possibly changed while I was gone.
In
So-
what regard?
No, it was not allowed in any zoning district, no commercial, no recreational, no cultivating, no grow. You get it delivered, but.
I talked to somebody else about that spot there. They said what it is they're selling CBD, which is legal to sell.
Right.
I don't know. I don't really know.
That may be the line
That's what I
that they're
was, that's what I
pitching.
was told.
That's
what
the
I was
line they
told.
may be pitching.
Yeah.
I was going to, for my own, ha-ha, so to
research?
speak, is to go in and see if I could actually purchase weed from them. But
Do you have an egg? Yeah.
I just, I'm not a big fan of the whole idea personally, but the laws are the laws, so like if they're not abiding, then that's where I have the issue. You know, like I said, I know enough people that do smoke. Me personally, with the CDL and everything like that, have not been able to partake for the last 30+ years.
Well, personally, I've been anti-smoking my entire life too, so. I
Yeah, me
understand
too.
that, but, the one thing I could mention on this though is, something that I understand, is just as a matter of process. And, as I understand, there was some question as to whether, so the proposed regulation change came to us and it was only for, to allow all. But then the question is, if, when they changed it to a ban on everything, whether or not that should have come back to us at that point. So it's all water under the bridge at this point. It is what it is, right? We all move on, but just for future reference, my understanding is that because of that, it should have come back to us for another referral on that. Yeah, so, I'll leave it at that. We all move on, we close the book and move on to the next thing, so, right. So, anyway, on that, does anybody have anything else they'd like to discuss for informal discussion? No?
For John Van Heist, and I bring it up all the time.
I have been working
Oh,
The tree?
the tree. It sounds like it's gonna be a red bud tree. I'm trying to do this at 11th hour. I have been working. Do you know the empty circle in front of Town Hall right now? Like, if you go outside, you go out the front
Yeah.
door, there's
Right,
a
right.
missing space. That is the location that there is being
on,
proposed.
on the building side?
Like
or
right in front of the building.
Right there,
You can't miss
before
it.
you cross the street,
Wherever,
right
yeah,
there.
before you
Alright,
cross
I
the
know.
street,
Mhm.
I've been working with, Parks and Rec on this, we've been going back and forth for months. It looks like we finally have it cemented down.
Oh, that'd be great.
With just, now, the plaque is gonna get a little tricky as far as like wording, it might just say like in memory of, or something of that nature, just a little, but
Memory
you can't
and-
have too much on it. But that's what it sounds like it's gonna ultimately, as soon as I have a better idea of what the actual wording and what have you. But yes, this is a joint venture between Parks and Rec, Commission. Apparently they're responsible for doing all of these. So Laura Murphy's been great working with us, but there's just, I think, here and everyone's trying to. But yes, I did not forget it. It is going forward.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Anything else? If not, Linda, I think you're on.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second? I assume we all, yes?
Alright,
Hi.
yep.